You have X, Y, and Z chromosomes thanks to some
Yeah.
aliens. Is it
Yeah.
Pleiadians or Greys? Who do you think has been manipulating you?
Pleiadians.
Pleiadians.
Pleiadians, I think.
Have you ever seen the Pleiadians? Like seen what they
No, I have not.
physically look like?
No, I have not seen the Pleiadians on the internet, but I've seen them directly 2 times.
Do they look like us, like humans?
They look like humans, but their head had a triangular in shape, that is pyramid in shape. And I think that is because
Mhm.
they want to receive more cosmic energy. They have been the evolution has made them to their head and the pyramid shape to receive more cosmic energy, I guess.
I
Because we have pyramids instance where we we get more cosmic energy. We have the king's chamber. So their heads are naturally designed
I have a
in the
I,
pyramid.
I recorded a guest yesterday that's in contact with the Pleiadians, and she said they look like us, but more beautiful and taller.
Yeah, of
They're
course,
more
taller. They were 9 feet tall.
and
They were 9 feet
yeah,
tall.
and she said that they're kind of like our cousins in a
Most
way.
probably, I think. Most
Mhm.
probably, yeah. They almost look like us only, but only the head was, the finishing of the crown was different.
Hmm.
That's all.
Yeah. So I might post her tomorrow. I haven't really. And maybe the people can in the chat say, I have this woman that she's in contact with Pleiadians. Was it? No, not. Is it Pleiadians or Arcturians? I think it's Pleiadians. And then I have an Indie Eda post. Did you ever check out the man that I had that's Russian royalty that I
Yeah.
posted last
Sergi,
Saturday?
Sergi,
Serge?
Sergi, I saw.
Yes,
Yeah.
Serge.
His
Barrington.
name is Sergi. Sierg. Sergi.
Like Sergey.
Yeah, yeah, Sergey. I saw his post.
Yeah.
And his voice was very familiar. His voice sounded very familiar, just like King George V.
Yeah. And he's
I
from the Obelinsky family.
Obelinsky. Okay, okay,
I
okay.
guess those are like cousins or something of what was this? What was Tsar Nicholas's last name?
Tsar Nicholas only, nothing else. There
That's
was
it.
no other
There
name.
was no
Yeah.
last name, family name.
No,
Romanov, was
Nikki.
it? Aren't they like the Romanovs or something like that?
Yeah, his family is Romanov. Romanov Nicholas.
Right,
Romanov Alexei.
right, right. That's it. So for those of you who don't know, Vicky
Hmm.
in a past life was related to Tsar Nicholas, and this is a representation of Tsar Nicholas that
Yeah,
she has created.
yeah. Another one mannequin. This is a new mannequin which I have not showed you so far. Which I
That
have not
looks
showed the
cool.
audience.
I like how you made it look like he has all the medals on him.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
I, I remember all his uniforms.
Hmm.
Tsar Nicholas has appeared in my dreams several times before the regression.
Really?
Yeah, when I was a child during my teenage years, and as well as most recently, I have even seen Lenin in the year 2017, just before my regression.
Really? Vladimir Lenin?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Vladimir Lenin, and also the man who executed us.
I wonder.
Um, I don't remember his name properly.
I
King
wonder.
Yokov.
I wonder what it would be like for you if you went to St. Petersburg and walked around the old royal castle.
Yeah, I
If
would
you would
like to,
be,
but I don't like the cold climate. The weather is too cold there,
well, go in the
so I
summer.
prefer. Yeah, sure.
That'd be comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. I
That
would
would be really
definitely go.
cool. That would be awesome. All right. Well, do you have you have anything new to share with us this week?
Yeah, new in the sense that the Z chromosome will be maturing in me by the year 2025. That's what the
It
aliens
would,
are
what,
telepathically.
all right. What should we expect to happen to your body once the Z chromosome matures? What physical changes or behavioral changes will happen to you?
They are saying that I might probably get bolder and I might probably be accepted more among the people. That's what I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not asked them previously what would be like the maturity phase.
Do you think, well, the Z chromosome makes you both male and female, right?
Yeah.
So if that matures, I'm trying to
Mm.
think about what that would mean for you.
Probably I would be able to live like with this talent. I would be more accepted. I think so. People
Hmm.
are very new to this. I think most people are very new to this.
Would you think that most people in India don't accept this Z chromosome?
So most people in the world itself, they know trans woman and trans male and
Hmm.
in between categories, but they don't know this kind of Z chromosome, the existence of Z chromosome, which they are trying to develop in humans.
Right. And
This plate,
do you tell people that you're not trans male or female, that this is a chromosomal change?
but they don't seem to understand much. So I just prefer to not speak about my sexuality or about any of my other preferences,
Hmm.
gender preference. Yeah.
Right. Right. Makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're right about that, that it's not only India, but everywhere in the world you would have trouble.
Z chromosome is what is very new to people.
Have you met any other people on the planet who have it, the Z chromosome?
No, I have not met because even in the Google search, it doesn't show anything like that.
Hmm.
We just have minorities, but LGBTQ, but nothing like Z chromosome. Nobody understands.
Right.
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty wild. All right. Well, I wish that you could get us photographs or video of of UFOs or ETs. Do you think you can ever
Yeah, but
get
I
that?
don't have any. No, I have not seen any UFO.
Oh.
I've seen only they appear telepathically, and I have seen them 2 times when I was 5 years of age and when I was in 21 years of age.
Hmm. At what age do you think they started manipulating your chromosomes?
I think it could be by birth
At birth?
because I have some pre-birth memories
Oh, really?
which I have. Yeah, I have the memory of a cave of me entering in a cave. That I think that is a black void most probably.
Hmm.
And there I saw numbers and alphabets which had sexual categorization, like the alphabet A being a female, alphabet B being a woman, male, alphabet C and D are again male, alphabet G is a female. So like this kind of thoughts I have. I have this memory of pre-birth memory where the alphabets and numericals are classified into different sexual categories.
Hmm. All right.
Hmm.
All right. Well, do you want to do any dancing today?
Yeah, a short dance. Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah,
I wish you could hear the music that I'm playing for you.
yeah. So I've done short dance. So this is a tiger. Your audio is gone. Audio is gone.
Sorry, it's my problem. What is the significance of the tigers? Because you have both the plush and the hat.
Yeah, actually, I am about to do my photo shoot. That's why I have this tiger
Oh,
photo
really?
and video shoot. Yeah,
Where do you post your photos at?
that's what I have a YouTube channel, but I don't have proper followers and subscribers.
Hmm.
That's why I don't post much.
Um,
So if people subscribe to my channel, maybe I would post in the future. But as of now, I do just videography and photography just to uh, show my Z chromosome,
Mm-hmm.
how far I am
Mm-hmm.
Z. Yeah. And my channel name is Vicky Gold Ganesh.
All right. If you guys want to check out what Vicky's up to, his YouTube channel is Vicky Gold Ganesh.
Yeah.
All
And I
right.
am in the process of exploring my Z chromosome. That's what I have been.
And it's all right. The process of exploring your Z chromosome.
As both female and male.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Vicky. Well, listen, I got to run, bud, but thank you for coming and hanging out with us. You look amazing. We appreciate you, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And a big round of applause for Vicky. All right, Levin is here, and somebody's texting me, I think. All right, we'll bring Levin in. Let's see what's going on here. I usually don't get advertisement. All right, so Levin is here. And we'll bring him in, and he is also Indian, which is fascinating. 2 Indians in a row. Levin, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, I was just saying that we had 2 Indians in a row. That was Vicky from Bangalore, and you are where were you originally from? South India too, right?
Yeah, I'm from South India too, from Tamil Nadu.
Tamilal?
Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. I don't know where that is. I need to look that up.
That's just below his state. You know, Bangalore is Karnataka, and I'm from the state below that. 6.5 hours from my city to Bangalore. You know,
Wow. Well, India is a really big country. I think we just don't realize that unless you look. You know, sometimes the maps I think are distorted, but I think India is much bigger than people realize.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you on the email. I need to get back to you. I apologize. I'm just always.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I appreciate
you've been busy.
Yeah. I'll get back to you.
Man.
Thank you. Well, we had a cool conversation. What you were talking about last time about thinking about your thoughts or reactions to memories.
Well, I'm glad that you like it and you're interested.
Yeah. What do you have to share with us this week?
All right. Today I was going to share about, what is the 3D matrix?
What is the 3D matrix, what everybody talks about?
Huh?
All right. So are you saying that we all live in a 3D matrix?
Yeah, we do.
All right. What is it?
So the 3D matrix is in our mind.
It's in our mind. Okay.
So when we're in the 3D matrix, how we see the world is, say, a person is standing outside and they're seeing a pine tree in front of them.
Okay.
So that person in their mind, that person is point A and the pine tree is point B, and there's a distance between them. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a distance between them. And then what happens is they actually don't see the pine tree. The information of what a pine tree is in their mind, that projects itself on the pine tree. So that's how the people, the humans in the matrix, that's how they see it. Like when you play a computer game, like you don't have to, you just take the mouse pointer and put it on objects. It will immediately show you what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how, people in the matrix see it. So the matrix itself is past memories moving towards the future, but it needs something, right? It needs space to move around. So it uses present moment. It just uses the present moment and projects itself from past to future. So how can we understand this is, say when you go to a beautiful hill station or any kind of niche scenic scenery view, so you see that it's so beautiful, right? It's amazing. So at that moment, your mind just is completely still, silent. You can't think of anything. You're at awe. It just completely blows you away, right? So you are in that moment, maybe for few seconds. Then immediately, what the past does is it comes and it either projects and says, "Wow, I have been here before a few years. That was awesome, and I am enjoying this now." It will either say that, or it will say, "Man, this is beautiful, and I need to come back here after some years and experience this again." So all it's doing is it uses the energy of the present moment, immediately it projects the future. So for the matrix, the present moment as its fullest doesn't exist at all. So that's why we don't have free will, because free will exists in the present moment. We are stuck in in the past, future. In that, the matrix is like a program. It moves in the same way all the time. What can people think? They can either think of the past or project the future.
That makes sense. So they're not, it's hard for them to be thinking present time.
Yeah, because present moment is unlimited. It's outside time. Time itself is past and future. The present moment is, to be honest, time doesn't exist. Directions doesn't exist. We have created all this for our convenience to make sense of the world.
Now, I guess if you just sit there and don't think, if you can do that and just sit there and be without thinking, then you're in present time.
Yeah. So the thing is, but how can we do that? Because everything is happening to us. We are not doing anything. So thinking is a response, automatic response. So we can't just try to stop it. So that's why, in the spiritual community, meditation is always, emphasis, or it's important, because meditation is the heartbeat of spirituality. Uh, you know, the mind is just keep on reacting to, what you see, what you hear, what you feel. So constantly it's communicating with say it's the field or the matrix, the 3D matrix. So when it's constantly doing that, so when we meditate, what we are doing is we are slowing down everything so that we could see what's actually going on. So when we sit down, close our eyes, so most of the senses, the reactions we see is cut off because our eyes are closed. And the sound, you know, mostly when you're in a still quiet place, then the sound is also almost, cut off from outside, and the body is not moving, it's in one place. So when we cut all those reactions, then we have less happening. So then we can see what's actually going on, how the mind is operating. So that's the main purpose of meditation.
What about when a person is on the other side from either a near-death experience or astral body traveling, and they're outside of their body and they leave their physical mind behind? Then are they still thinking in the past and present, or where are they at that point?
The body is confined to, even though the body is in the present moment, the mind is connected to the 3D matrix. So once they leave that, they don't lose it completely, but they're outside time. So when you're outside time, and there's also, so much help around. So, everybody guides them, the energy helps them to understand. Everybody says that they're back home, they feel, love, unconditional love. So it's easy for them to see what was hidden before, because see, the thing is, the 3D matrix is so dense. Why is it dense? Because the 3D matrix is completely based on a lie of separation. So when everybody is isolated, and you can, all human beings feel lonely. Loneliness is common to all. There can't be one human who can say, "Oh, I don't know what loneliness is," because when everybody is isolated, the creation itself is showing us that here it is, loneliness. Find out what it is. Why are you going through that?
That's fascinating. So, do you think that we are here or that we are trapped here, as some people who talk about the 3D matrix
Well,
believe?
that's one way to look at it. But then once you understand this, how the mind operates, what 3D matrix is, then then you're outside of it. So when we live in the 3D matrix, there are consequences for everything. So when we live based on a lie that I am separate from everything, then there is consequence of such a living, which is anger, fear, loneliness, pain, anxiety, depression, all those things, disease, all the so-called viruses, so they all only exist in the 3D matrix. And fear of death. So death, well, to be honest, life and death are not two separate things. You take our body, our skin cells, they fall off, our nails grow and we cut off, our hair falls and new hair grows. And inside our body, the body regulates the dead cells and sends it out. And science, also can prove this, that around 3 years, every 3 years, we have a complete new body. That means, and also you take nature, you can see the trees, branches fall off, during storm season, and new leaves fall, old leaves fall off, new leaves grow. So life and death is happening. Like babies are born for every second, so many, and so many people die. So in the present moment, life and death is happening as one moment, it's not separate. And according to, the matrix, death is actually, oh, when I'm old, then I'm dead. And that's what death is. But death actually doesn't exist as a separate thing. It's happening as life, it's part of life. It's one.
Wow. All right. I want to let people know more about what you're up to. What is the name of your YouTube channel?
Okay, my YouTube channel is Blind or Eyes Without an Open Heart space 77359.
All right, you may have to post a link or write that out in the chat, because I don't think most people are going to remember that.
Well, I did that last time, but there's always some things going on in the internet, and then I couldn't find my chat, what I put in there anywhere. Yeah, so
well, last time was it last week that we got video bombed? I think we did, and so I had to go and go edit it, and I think that lost the chat. But at least for now, there's 222. Hey, 222 people in here, so they can find you. And you also have merch. Do you have a merch store?
Yeah, I have a merch store connected with my YouTube. Like, I have links and I have videos about it. It's pretty it's pretty amazing. People can check it out. Well, the thing is, when we are in a meditative state or deep state of silence, then we can tap into the present moment's energy, where the pure intelligence comes from. So that time, all the ideas came from me, to create the merchandise and all that.
All right, great. Well, Levin, I'm sorry, man. I've got to run. I've got 2 people in the waiting room, and I'm going to try to do better tonight to keep on time.
All right,
So
then.
I appreciate
glad to be here.
Thanks for sharing with us, and hopefully we see you again.
Well, I'll be here again, and we can continue. All right.
All right, great. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye,
Bye-bye.
brother. Take care.
You too.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Oh, I can now. I was looking.
Oh, okay, great. I never call in, but I'm like, oh, I feel bad for Jeff. He doesn't have anybody.
Oh, that's okay. I was
So
about to, but now it's going to be my new thing is, are you a real person? Because I don't know if you were
I
just
am a
here
real
10 minutes,
person.
if you were here 10 minutes ago and saw what happened. Were you a
All right,
witness to
so
that?
I am a witness to that.
All right. So that's why I was like, that might be like the new slogan. Are you a real person? But thank you for coming and sharing. Where are you zooming from? I can see tall trees. Are you in Georgia or somewhere?
No, I'm actually in Minnesota.
Minnesota. All right, cool. Awesome. That's great. Well, what do you have to share with us tonight?
So I have to be a little bit discreet probably about the location of where this happened,
Okay.
but it was in Minnesota.
Right.
And it was actually at my job. I was working a job that I probably shouldn't share exactly what it was, but it was in media. So we had a lot of technology around, a lot of computers and stuff. And it seems to be that a lot of paranormal activity happens around technology. So I think it was like my third week of the job, and we were training on our computers, and we had a little cubicle separating us. And my boss said, "Oh, you guys can go on a bathroom break if you need to." So I left and went down the stairs. It was one of those stairwells that, let's see. Sorry, my nerves are kicking in. I don't usually do
Oh,
this.
that's okay.
Try to remember.
You know, I got
Okay.
nervous when you started saying bathroom break because that's how it went with the last guy.
Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about the bathroom too much. So anyway, I went to the, I didn't even think about that. All right, so I'm walking down the stairwell, and it's one of those closed off where everything is pretty dark in there. There's not, there's no glare. So, and I come back from the bathroom break, and in the stairwell out of the corner of my eye, I saw what looked like a ghost.
Mhm.
It was kind of, sounds crazy saying this, but it was kind of like a smoky figure of a woman.
Cool.
And I was too scared to look directly at her, but I could see that she was wearing like a plaid skirt, kind of one of those skirts that starts at your waist, and then she was wearing a blouse that was kind of I don't know what style that is, from like the 1800s or something, that goes up to her neck. And brunette, I don't know how I knew that. It's kind of hard to explain. She had her hair pulled back into a little bun on the top of her head. So when I get back to the cubicle, I'm thinking, I'm not going to tell anybody this. Everybody thinks I'm crazy as it is. So I'll just keep this to myself. And my coworker, who I didn't know very well, she sends me a text message and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I think I just saw a ghost." And I said, "Where did you see this ghost?" And it was in the exact same spot where I was. And I said, "Can you describe the ghost to me?" And the description she had was the exact same as what I
Cool.
described, except it sounded like her form was a little bit more solid than what I saw. So, and it gets crazier from there. So they were remodeling, I think it was 4 floors, and we were on the 4th floor, right?
How old
And
was the
usually with
building?
office, that's the part I didn't mention, that it used to be, I don't know exactly how old it was, but it was one of the first, it was like an underwear factory, and it was employed by mainly women. I think it was like the 1800s when it opened up. I can't remember the name of it. But now it's like mostly designers work out of that building. Hopefully, I'm not giving away too many details about the place. But anyway, so it did date back to, the style and everything would have fit accordingly based off of that time period. So anyway, they were remodeling all of the bathrooms, and normally in those kind of commercial buildings, they do it pretty basic. It's like white walls or gray wallpaper or something plain, right? So everything was like the same design. But then on the 4th floor, where I had seen, no, I had seen the ghost on the 3rd floor in the stairwell, but on the 4th floor where I worked, that was the last bathroom they remodeled. And they decided to pick wallpaper for that one, and it had 4 women on it. And one of the women on the wallpaper looked exactly like the woman that I saw. I actually have the picture, and so I have no idea how to explain that.
You mean you took the picture of it like with your phone or something?
Uh-huh.
Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah, she looks exactly like her.
It's amazing that you and somebody else saw that, so you got validation.
But she quit like a week later, so I don't know if she got freaked out. So I have nobody to back me up on that one. So
And this was how long ago?
would have been like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. Interesting
Yep.
that you are so secretive about this place. I don't want you to, I'm not trying to entice you into telling me about the history of the place and where you worked for, but I find it interesting that you have to keep it on the down low, you know?
Well, the only reason I want to keep it on the down low is because I worked in media, and so I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal certain things about the company. You know, there's nothing shady about it, but um yeah, I just try to keep that private. So
You know, for 2 people saying that, it sounds like it would be something right out of Ghostbusters.
yeah.
You
And
didn't
I'm
get
pretty
slimed, did you?
what's that?
I'm just kidding. I was saying you didn't get slimed, did you?
Oh, thank goodness, no.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm pretty I have a pretty active dream life, and I'm pretty intuitive and in touch with spirit and all that stuff. But that's the one thing that I just can't not wrap my head around. I don't know what happened there. So
Did you ever do any research and see if somebody had died in the building?
there was a fire, and um they did have a rumor um about there being a ghost, but I had never had an encounter with that specific ghost that was rumored to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But I did feel a lot of things about there. I didn't like being there at night. Um especially in the elevator. I guess I don't think anybody likes being in an elevator at night.
Mm-hmm.
But
So was this a one-time sighting, or did this happen multiple
it was
times?
just a one-time sighting.
Ah,
Thank goodness.
yeah. Maybe you would it make you quit if you kept seeing it?
No, I mean, I've had encounters before at different places that I've worked. I've actually worked at another place that was an older building that um actually I can tell you the name of that place. That was the Lafayette Club.
Mm-hmm.
That's in Minnesota. And they had like 2 fires, I think. And I always felt things in there. Even the people that didn't believe in ghosts that worked there, they all said, "I'm a believer now."
Wow,
So
that's so cool.
yeah, there's a lot of
Well, Elle, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing with us. I'm happy to see that you are a real person and not another prankster. So I appreciate you, and I got to run. I got 3 people waiting. Hopefully they're real people too, but thank you so much, and don't be a stranger. Come back and share with us again.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And a big round of applause for Elle. All right, next we got Tanya. I'm glad Tanya's here because I wanted to talk to somebody who went to the IONS meeting, and they can tell us all about it. And we got Tanya here. And so Ambience Drifter, thank you so much for that super thanks. We really appreciate it. And we've even got Michael Suarez, John Scott, and Aiden LLC. So I know these three are not pranksters. Although you never know. Maybe they could be signing in under an alias.
Oh, there I am.
Hey, how's it going, Tanya?
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Great, how are you? And I'm glad you came in because I was saying that I would like to talk to one of you that were at the IONS conference so you could tell us how it was. How was it?
It was amazing. I'm so glad that I went and met some of the faithful audience that you have.
That's great.
And, yeah, we bond. It's like a new family.
Well, that's awesome.
It's like
That'd be great. Maybe we could all. I mean, well, the next one's in Phoenix. It's still not close to me. Too bad it's not like in Dallas or Houston. But that would be cool. We have been talking. Well, myself, I, and Shira have been talking, and you guys know Shira. I don't know if she's here or not. I haven't looked at the chat, but like maybe we could do a giant group get together, right?
yeah.
And I was trying to say, like, where could we do this? And she had said I think there's some national park where she lives, and I said, well, yeah, there's that, but you almost have to have something else because I can't entertain everybody for a whole weekend. So if it was like on a cruise or Vegas or an IONS meeting, like maybe the IONS conference would be like a great place for everybody
Yes,
because
they
then
did
it's
have
Go
a
ahead.
lot of activities to do. I was only there for one day.
One day. Wow.
Yes, I went there on Saturday because I knew that on that day, everybody was going to be there on that Saturday. So that's why I went there on that day to meet them.
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't get to do many stuff. Although Pete, he did spend time with many of the guest speakers and many people that you have had on the show before. So I think he had a really like great experience in there.
That's great. Yeah. It would probably be weird for me because I've had like probably half the people there as a guest.
Yes, and you know what? Even the people that were there, like us, the audience, as soon as we will tell them like, hey, or Pete will tell them like, hey, we're here from the Jeff and Mara show. We watch him on video and stuff, and they were like, yeah, I know him. Say
That's
hello,
cool. I wish
they recognize you.
I wish I would have like had some kind of T-shirt that I had given you all, so you guys could have been really representing us. That would have been super cool. I wish maybe next year, even if my wife and I don't appear there next year in person, we can make you guys, give you guys a free shirt, so then you'll all have something to represent.
Yes, so I did mention that, like, because I didn't really think about it when I packed and went there. It was kind of like an afterthought that I thought about it, like, oh, I should have wear the Jeff and Mara.
Yeah, that'd have been cool.
And then I was like, well, maybe next year we should wear the Jeff and Mara shirt,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I've been trying to recruit people into like going to the next one, and where is it? Phoenix, Arizona.
Let me ask you this. If you wouldn't have been with the JeffMara family, you would have just been there by yourself, would you have still enjoyed it?
Yes, absolutely. And if I didn't have my headache, even more. But yeah, it was neat, kind of like seeing those people like in person. It was kind of like seeing an artist,
Yeah.
in person. So you connect with them in that level, even like in the energy level.
That's great. Did you go to the dance party?
Yeah, I was up there. Remember on the video in the background?
Oh yeah, you were there, but I didn't. Someone else posted video. I think I saw it on Facebook, but there was someone else that actually posted a video of like I mean, I think Pete was walking through and people were just kind of hanging out and standing around, but they're maybe later at the night or something when everybody, after a few drinks or something, everybody loosened up and they were all dancing, and someone had posted a video of that.
Yeah.
So,
We just hang around together and talk and talk about the show and the guests that you had and the ones that we saw there, and so it was a really like bonding experience.
That's
Really.
amazing. Did anybody have like a did they do any like meditation sessions or anything like that?
Yes, they did have. They call it healing sessions.
Oh, awesome.
So I did have a 25 minutes healing session, and I think Julie, maybe she had something also with the healing session. And so I did it one-on-one. I don't know if you have interviewed him. Even Mishan.
I don't think so. The only Eben I know is Eben Alexander.
Oh, okay. And he was there. I
Yeah.
think.
I saw him when you guys were when Pete was showing us around. I think I saw him there. But the other person, I don't know him.
Yeah. And that person told me I'm a medium.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you do have sleep paralysis, right?
OBEs, yes.
OBE, sleep paralysis, so it's possible. Do you feel like you could channel somebody for?
Well, I'm trying to find one of your guests that I can train with them. And but sometimes it's pricey or the time is not right.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing something, with a school or work or something, and so that prevents me from doing it. But I believe that everything happened for a reason, so maybe it's not my time.
Yeah.
To get that training, maybe later on.
Yeah, you just never know, and it's so hard.
Yeah.
As you know, if you have kids and you're an adult and a job,
Yes.
it's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
And that's it. Well, Tanya, I need to run. I've got 4 people waiting on me, but thank you so much for coming in. Is there anything that you wanted to share before I go?
Yes, it was actually calling for like my latest OBE bracket.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, what happened?
Well, let's see if I can do this fast. So through Discord, I started using, one of the voice channels, and we were meeting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And talking, and Julie, I was mentioning to the group that it had been a while since I had my latest OBE. And then Julie was also on the call, and then she told me something that really like touched me. And she said, "Well, don't force it. Like just it will come. It will happen whenever it's meant to happen. It will happen." So I went to sleep with that thought, and I didn't really think anything about it. I was just like, yes, you're right. I can't force something to happen. Like when it is meant to happen, it's gonna happen. So just before I went to sleep, I asked my son to take my dog out to relieve himself, and he did. But he left him outside, and then now I'm sleeping in bed. But then I'm hearing him barking and barking and barking. So to the point that he woke me up again. So I got up and I went downstairs and I got him inside the house. And I looked out in the patio and it was nothing there, but I didn't think anything about it. So I just went back to sleep. As I'm sleeping about 3:45, 4 in the morning, I was waking up by a whistle in my room, like a full-blown hard whistle, like somebody whistling.
Wow.
And I opened my eyes and I was like, okay, because my door is closed, nobody else is sleeping with me. Like I'm alone in my room. My dog is not even in my room. And this full-blown whistle, I heard it clearly in my room that woke me up immediately. So I said to myself, I'm not gonna get scared. I'm not gonna get scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I got up, I drink some water, I used the restroom, came back, and went to sleep. So when I'm sleeping, now I'm feeling the energy going up and down my body, like kind of like when you have the chills
Okay.
and you have the chills and you
Is it
tremble.
possible it was like a Kundalini thing?
It's it's not a kundalini, it's more like you have the chills and you feel the energy that goes up and down your body. It goes up
Well,
and
doesn't
down.
Kundalini do that? Kind of goes up your spine or something like that?
I think a kundalini is more like something really like so intense and so, like
Mm-hmm.
that you had never felt before or something. I think it's more. I believe this was the beginning stages of the OBE that I was about to
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Okay, so it's kind of like your body was tingling before you popped out.
Yes, so it was trying
Mm-hmm.
to like get me there, and so, but at this point, I'm still not realizing what is happening. So I'm tossing and turning, like moving around and stuff. So I sleep with the ice mask. And because I'm tossing and turning and feeling that tingling, that shivering in my body, and I'm thinking it's the air conditioning is on, maybe I'm cold or something like that. But my ice mask shifted a little bit, so now I can see a little bit in my room. So I'm kind of like asleep and going into that stage, right? Awake and asleep a little bit. And I see that my room get completely dark. And once my room get completely dark, now I sat up in my bed and I fell down on the ground. And I'm like, oh my God, like what scared me, like that I sat up and I'm on the ground. And then it wasn't until I just started moving up and away from the room. And I'm looking at myself laying in the bed that I realized that I was having an OBE.
Mm,
So I'm like, oh my God, I'm having an OBE.
that's cool.
When I realized it, I immediately call upon my guardian angel, Archangel Michael, and Lord Jesus for protection. And as soon as I did that, what was in front of me was like a wall. And on this wall, I can see the shadow, the outline of the angels. And I was like, oh my God, this is my guardian angel and Archangel Michael. And then right after that, I went through that wall, like the wall opened, like it was a door. And I went through the wall, and now I'm in a black space that I think maybe the void, because it was nothing going on. And I'm there in that space, and I remember, oh, I need to have an intention. That's why I'm not going anywhere or doing anything. So I said, well, I would like to go to heaven, and because I want to visit my mom, my sister, my dad, like I mentioned, everybody that had passed away from my family. So immediately after I set that intention, I started moving slowly, right, in the void. But I was like, I want to move faster. And so I was like, I want to move faster, like Superman. So I went like this with my hand, you know how Superman when he's flying, and I started moving faster
Wow.
now. And then right after that, now I'm in like a beach resort. Now I arrive into like a beach resort, and I'm looking around and people are having fun, and I'm looking at the waters, and the waters are clear, and they even have like a bungee jumping place from where people like jump into the water and stuff. And I was like, oh, how cool. So I'm walking, and not when I say walking, it's more like gliding. So I'm gliding through the place and looking at everything. And I enter a space that looked like a restaurant, but it's open, it's on the beach, and it's covered also, like a building, right? So I enter that place, and right in front of me is my mom sitting on a
Wow.
table eating. And I look at her, and I was like, Mom. And I went to her, and I felt like I sat on her legs, like I'm a little girl again. And I hugged her, and she hugged me, and I kissed her, and she kissed me. And then she looked at me, and she said, you shouldn't be here unless. And she didn't finish the sentence. And I look at her, and I said, Mom. And I kissed her again, and I hugged her again. And she didn't have to finish the sentence because I already knew what she wanted to say. She said, you shouldn't be here unless you are dead.
Yeah.
But I knew it, even though she didn't finish the sentence. And that's why I interrupted her, and I said, Mom, a second time. And I kissed her, and she kissed me. And then I opened my eyes, and now I'm back in my room, right? So now I'm thinking, like, okay, it's over. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, guardian angels. The person that whistled in my room.
Mhm.
Thank you for waking me up and to call me in to have this experience. And I open my phone, and I start looking at the emails, because now it's daytime, and now it's like light outside and everything. So this was a couple of hours. And I look at my phone, and the first email in my phone was like a junk email that I received, but the subject was, I will always love you.
Wow, it's amazing.
So I was like, oh my God. Like, how much like of what is the word that I'm looking for?
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity, and also like to let me know that it did happen.
Mhm.
Like, it did happen. You did went and saw your mom,
From what I recall, this has been your best OBE yet.
Yes, because I asked to see my mom, and that's what I got.
That's
I saw
amazing.
my mom.
That's so awesome. That's great. So it sounds like you're able to control these. I mean, I don't know if you were in sleep paralysis, but you're able to control it now, and you are even telling yourself, "Don't be afraid."
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah, a little bit better. Yes, I'm doing better.
Well, if you keep it up, we may have to have you as a guest, and you're going to tell us about all these realms that you visit, and it could be amazing.
Yes.
All the different realms and dimensions. Wow, that's awesome. All right, Tanya. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. That was a great experience, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bless you. Bye.
Mm-hmm. Michael.
Good night, Jeff.
Hello, Michael. What's going on in New York?
Good night, everybody. Good to see you.
Likewise.
And blessings to everybody. I missed whatever happened before.
Oh,
Sorry.
well, that's okay. There's nothing to, it wasn't. It wasn't something that you can find.
So then I was coming back. I happened to go to the store, and I was listening to the show, and then I just turned around like to pay or whatever, and then it happened in that moment.
Yeah.
So I guess, and then I turned back, and I'm like, wait, what are they talking about now? But we can agree, and I don't think it's past agreeing that there, will be a solution for that.
I hope so.
That the solution will come under grace in a perfect way.
Maybe it'll come to us in a dream.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Speaking of that really quick, then one of the things that people don't know about dreams, and I don't talk about it that much. By the way, for people who might not know me, I think most people do. My name is Michael Suarez. I am the dream detective, currently writing my third book, which is just coming out wonderfully. I'm so happy with it. The subtitle is volume 2 is Love, Sex, and the Pursuit of Wholeness. Right. And so the dreams that we talk about are marvelous. Anyway, just not to lose the thought, though, you mentioned asking. That is something in a future volume where I talk about miracles. I'm going to talk about people who ask before they go to sleep. Like, I want to know what it's like to be a millionaire. And then they have the most intense, but they push hard, right? Like, there's full belief there. Like this person, and I'm not going to go into the whole story, but this person just come from a class, from a silver class. And they were like, I want to know what it feels like. And they said, and then we went their whole dream. They had the most intense dream they've ever had where they won the lottery.
Wow.
Right. So, and the thing that's, again, like, there's too much there for what we're doing now, but it actually taught and literally answered, my friends, it literally answered what it would feel like. So it wasn't all good. That's deep right
Was
there.
it you that told me that from the Silva method that whatever you do, I think it was either you or someone else that said, I want to remember my dream before you go to sleep, and then you drink water. Was that you that told us that?
Yeah, that's a method that I have, that I do share, that I talk about, and that I learned by the Silva method. I went, like, we had talked about it a little bit. I went pretty intense into the Silva method. I do consider them part of the movement that laid the foundation for making what we're doing more like a science. That we know, like, it seems obvious when you go in retrospect that all of our emotions have a breathing state, right? If we're scared, if we're relaxed, if we're angry, each one, he began to master stuff like that to put us into alpha state, because we just duplicate the state we have when we're going to sleep. So yeah, I mean, and they do lots of other stuff. This, that I gotta think, without having thought of it before, that has a lot to do with why I have a very strong, most people recognize me as having a strong intuition when it comes to this astral realm and to the, to the world of dreams.
I would like to get someone on from the Silva method. I think that would be a really cool podcast.
It would be an awesome podcast. They are super well established. Laura Silver.
Is there someone that you recommend that I get as a guest?
Laura Silver, his daughter.
Okay.
She took over after he passed away. She's powerful.
Wow,
that would be in similar to like a Raymond Moody. I would actually go as that far. She's just in a slightly different circle, but
Okay, I need to reach out to her.
She's the very real deal. But again, she approaches it in that classic science of putting yourself into state, using your imagination.
I thought that Vishen Lakhani took over the Silva method.
I've heard of him. And I think I know who you're talking about. And I've heard him talk about the Silva method. So maybe I didn't know, because it did seem like Laura was doing a little less. But for example, I have the class on my wall over here. I have the class when it was, oh my God, I'm aging myself. When it was in CDs or MP3s or something. And it was her, like that, in other words, I got almost all my training from her. I got the beginning when I first discovered it. I trained with Jose Silva, because that's what you do. You listen to it, you learn how to go into alpha state upon command. Right. Super relaxed, just letting things go. Right. So and she was the one who, that trained me.
That's great. Yeah. I need to reach out to her then. I think she would be a great guest.
Yeah. And by the way, so this is kind of what I wanted to talk about. That was so awesome. I'm a philosophy major, so especially for me to hear Raymond Moody talking about all that wonderful information, taking the metaphysical of NDEs and merging it with the classic philosophical movements that speak to us throughout history, like you talked about with Plato and Socrates, and just, that was awesome. So,
well, I don't remember exactly everything we said, but I'm thinking that he was saying that he got the idea about NDEs from Plato's Republic, because there was a soldier in the story who basically had an NDE.
Yeah. And the example that you brought up, which is a classic philosophical example of the people in the cave, is us not perceiving the spirit realm in a very, very clear and strong way. So once we have this, so let me just back up. So I want to explain what I'm sharing in the context of, I was recently talking about what my origin story is and then how it relates to us. Okay. So when I say my origin story, like I said, I'm writing my third book on interpretation, and I'm getting to know stuff about myself. And by getting to know stuff about myself, I get to know stuff about you. I get to know stuff about people. Right. So this started when I was a kid. I read this book that my mom gave me, Joseph and the Coat of Many Colors. Right. And that's a classic Bible story. And I read that thing again and again and again and again. I've talked about this. And in the story, it's about this boy who has this special talent for dreams and interpretations. And he ends up interpreting dreams such that it saves the world, right? That's the basic storyline that's there. He brings it and he's able to save all of Egypt and all of his own family who put him in that situation. Right. And then now I'm living this out years later after that. And I am coming to this place where, at least where I believe my purpose is very clearly, is to provide light about our dreams, because our dreams are spiritual testimonies. Like I would literally say this week, I worked on defining my purpose with one line, and I was like, okay, it's about bringing light. Now, to make this just super quickly concrete, the light I'm talking about is a psycho-spiritual light that gets triggered in us. And it helps us to recognize the spiritual realm more clearly. When I do it in dream interpretation, I'm doing it because it's our real language. And what I'm doing is I'm showing someone, oh, I was in a maze and I kept opening the door and there was, there was only a brick wall there. And then I'm teaching them, right? I'm illuminating what the language that's inside them. Oh, that means that you're confused about direction, that you're frustrated about where the opportunities are leading, stuff like that, where it's literally showing. So what are we doing in that? Again, we're bringing, as soon as I say that, most people, and we've had this experience with you, where I say, oh, well, this would imply that. And you go, oh, yeah, that very bit right there where we're like, oh, right? That awareness is the light, right? And from there we build and it grows. So we're doing this in various ways. And I think that's one of the things I brought, from the spirit that I feel like is an important thing to communicate. So yeah, we had this issue where, like you said, right, we're having these challenges, these trolls and everything. We are doing the work, nevertheless, of bringing light. You and me and all these other people who are participating in this process are doing the work of bringing the light. Right, of bringing the light that there is spiritual truth. And I would actually again go as far as to say that we are in that ascension, right? Like the earth, there's more and more people, it's like and even the stuff that people complain about anymore is not different. They're not like, I'm trapped, yeah, I'll leave that as there. But where there's an upward movement of being aware. And for me, by the way, I'll talk about this another time, but what has been taught to me from within is that's where we discover our divinity. That we discover our divinity, and you see how it reflects with the creation. We're the only being up in this piece that's like, oh, I exist, right? So we are aware that we are existence. It's really like I often compare it to becoming aware of the play while you were in it.
It's like becoming aware of being aware.
Yeah, but there's a point like where I used to believe that I was Michael, and that sounds crazy, but I'm not Michael. Michael is a body and a being that I'm inhabiting. I literally am, and this doesn't tell me I'm special. It actually tells me that we all are this. That we are spiritual beings, in that phrase that people use, literally embodying experience. This is, once you start to think about it, even a child, they can start to understand that it must be so, because this realm ends. Everything here comes into existence and then disappears again. And that's what begins to give us the clue when we shift from, oh, I'm this, to no, I'm the thing that's thinking. So yeah, that went a different direction, but
That's cool.
hopefully
That's
that was
cool. No, thank you for that, Michael. Michael, all right. Well, I have to run, Michael. I'm trying to keep on time now, and I've got 3 people behind you. So
okay.
I appreciate you coming and sharing, and it was great talking to you. And I will see you soon, next
Yeah.
week. All right. Thanks, Michael. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye. And a big round of applause for Michael. Oh. Fabian said, perhaps we can pre-approve. That's possible. We'll have to see. All right, it's John Scott. Where is Mr. Scott at? We haven't had him on in a while. There he is, John. Welcome back.
Jeff, can you hear me? Testing 1, 3, 5, 7.
We can.
Sorry, I had to do a
loud and clear. Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's all good.
So it looks like one of your paintings behind you.
Yeah, it's yeah, I've got the screen. Sorry, I've got a different screen on behind me.
That's okay.
It's not my lounge room.
That's okay.
That's an old one. It
looks cool.
It
looks like some eyes there on the sides.
Yeah, well, with the nature of folding imagery, it's done in Photoshop from an original painting now. And once you start folding it, all of these images start to come out, which is quite an interesting subject in and of itself, because there was a famous psychologist who used to do these little ink foldings. I can't think of his name.
I mean,
off the top of my head.
Ink blot test?
Yeah, and it became a standard in testing subjects to see what was in their subconscious mind. So of course, you have this, what I call this subconscious bias, or this reality tunnel. So, you get one patient in who shows them about 50 ink blots, and all you can see is women's breasts. So the doctor sort of says, well, I think you've got a little bit of subjective confirmation bias there. So let's see if we can, But having said that, all jokes aside.
So have you been a little ill lately? Your voice doesn't sound as strong as it normally is. Right?
Yeah, well, energetically, there's some strange energies going on. I was talking to someone about this just last night, in fact. It seems like I've been in the eye of this storm. Me personally, I'm not being affected, but I'm seeing an increase in people calling me and having a lot of personal troubles in their life.
Wow.
And so it's kind of like swirling around me, but I did feel like there was a definite shift in the energy field globally, because I pick up very, very subtle energies ever since my near-death experience, and they seem to be more gestalt in nature. So I kind of feel it's weird, because it sort of threw me. It threw me because it's like I had this vision years ago, which I don't want to mention because it's quite negative. And now I feel like I've bumped into that vision, like I've entered into that time frame. And so that really was like, it was like a little whirlpool in a clear lake. And then boom, I thought, oh, and I felt really weird about it. And then all of these synchronicities started to come up surrounding that particular vision. And it involved Donald Trump. So I don't want to go any deeper on this. I'm not political. I do not take sides politically. I can't stand politics, because it's like Aristotelian mental trench warfare. All it is a mirror image. Now, to give you a metaphysical breakdown of that mirror image, it's akin to the Anya chakra, where people are projecting their realities onto this platform like mad, and they believe it's the truth. And so, of course, you end up with an equal and opposite reaction, as Albert Einstein says, and they annihilate each other in homeopathic remedies. They're annihilating each other. And people are so vociferous about their truth and this reality, as they're projecting it onto the platform. Right. This is happening on a micro level and a macro level. So I don't want to say too much more about it, because there are, I'm not being, secretive for the sake of it, but we're going through an extremely sensitive time for humanity, and we can go either way. So it's really important that we keep a positive bent on things, not to get sucked into too much to what we see on the net, A lot of AI is now infiltrating into the net and comments where they're reflecting back at you your beliefs, and you act, and all that does is it's reinforcement psychology, where you think, oh, I'm right because the AI bot is giving you your answer.
Right.
So you've got thousands of friends who are merely bots, right? So I think it's in full swing, this whole AI technology, and whether someone is misusing this without our permission.
Right. Well, I don't think you believe in the simulation theory, but some people who do now think that this whole simulation is being controlled by AI.
Well, it's not whether I believe in it. I don't have any solid beliefs. I just step back and, I've been around for 6 decades on this planet, and I think I was a big fan of Robert Anton Wilson's work. I read all of his work. His protege was Tim Leary. Tim Leary was a doctor of psychology, and he was demonized and paraphrased as a drug guru. And yet when you dig deeper, he was quite maverick, and so was Robert Anton Wilson. And you look at who their predecessors are, who they leaned on to get an idea of what we call reality maps. And Anton Wilson said this. He said, what we're lacking are consciousness maps. And I agree with him. It's like you really need maps of your consciousness. Now, The Matrix was a good example when the film The Matrix came out. And I personally think that they gleaned that whole series from Robert Anton Wilson and Leary's consciousness maps, the 8th circuit theory. I think from memory, that's what Anton Wilson coined it or phrased it. So that 8th circuit theory was a map of states of human consciousness split into 2 main groups. One was more terrestrial circuits, the first 4, which was basically leaning towards Freudian psychology, and the latter 4, which are being ignored, more to do with Jungian psychology. So it's ironic that those 2 German philosophers came out around the same time, and they both posited different theories. They're both relevant, of course, but modern psychology tends to lean more towards the 4 terrestrial circuits of imprints, territorial circuits, parental conditioning, environment, that sort of thing, whereas Jung was more into archetypes, Gestalt theory, paranormal synchronicities. Now, having said that, the biggest flaw with simulation theory, only in my opinion, and I've been thinking about this for weeks now, is that they tend to play simulation theory as either a game or it's just an illusion. And I can tell you what, it's not an illusion when you get your brains blown out in war. That's not an illusion. This is really serious. There's genuine suffering. And of course, when we start adding a paranormal aspect to this, there is a way out of the matrix. There is a way out of the simulation, but some people seem to be reinforcing that. Don't bother, just remain passive and everything will be rosy. Now, I know hippies from the 70s who say, hey, drag on a big joint, say, hey, there's no suffering, it's just all a game, until they start to suffer, and then it starts to get serious as their little blunt gets shorter and shorter, and then they quickly grab another blunt to keep themselves locked into what's known as the 5th circuit in Anton Wilson's map of consciousness. Now, this full-blown 8th circuit, the 8th circuit is basically a near-death experience. Or along those lines. And so, the near-death experience, it seems to be the pinnacle of human consciousness experience. And I want to thank you for bringing on Richard Dolan the other day.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd be great if Richard reached out to me. I'd like to speak to him in private if he's actually listens to this particular podcast. Because he mentioned at about the 50-mark minute off the top of my memory about a link between near-death experiences and extraterrestrial activity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and of course,
you've had, and I was hoping that you tonight were going to talk about your own personal ET or UFO experience.
Yeah, look, thanks for that. And I'm actually having an OBE at the moment. It's lasted for 2 days. And I'm going to have to admit that I'm out of beer. I'm out of beer. So I'm drinking water out of a Peroni Italian beer. I'm not plugging Peroni, by the way. You wouldn't have giornata oggi. See, it's a beautiful day. So water. Yeah, so I'm having an OBE, an out of beer experience at the moment.
An out of beer.
So I suppose we'll get stuck into it. I've had multiple extraterrestrial experiences. There was a point, because during my near-death experience, I asked some really big questions, as I've said on previous podcasts, which maybe it might behoove you to put them all together as.
I think I have a playlist. I think I have. You're the only guest that's a John's, that has their own playlist, because we've done so many podcasts together.
Well, I've done 5, and it's like, I'm not bragging. I personally don't like getting out in public and talking. I'm not a good public speaker. Okay. I've been a recluse for 30 years, and I seem to be going back into a reclusive phase yet again, Jeff. Now, I must say that I have, the last couple of days, I've been doing an extraterrestrial calling. And the one I'm going to show you now was done in 2014. I actually did a calling only to assuage my own experience, because remember, I'd had this NDE 30 years ago, and the first thing I asked was about the Great Pyramid. And no, I'm not a Freemason. If anybody thinks I'm a Freemason and plugging, Freemasonic theories, I'm not. I mean, I've been approached by Masons a couple of times. My grandfather was a 33-degree Master Mason. I didn't know him from the time I was 2. I have nothing against Masons at all. Okay, I don't take sides. I'm just some unassuming guy who's had this incredible experience, and it's really, I have to share it. And so every time I share it, I have to be really careful about what I share. Now, some of the stuff I don't like sharing are future visions, because it tampers with the timeline. And it takes away people's choice as well. You often see people who channel and are mediums, and people are inserting their projection from seemingly off-world sources. That's fine, but you've got to remember that infinite means infinite. Extraterrestrials are only part of the picture, part of the greater picture. And I don't think the human consciousness can handle the full truth, because it screwed my mind up for 30 years. I can't get a normal job, so I'm stuck in painting. Look, I love doing what I'm doing. I'm not complaining at all. But there's a massive amount of responsibility when it comes to seeing future events. Do you understand that? And so getting visions, and again, deciphering them, for me, they're not symbolic. They're very direct. So I've had about, 3 to 4 different ET contact. But one of them, during my telepathic discourse with the light, they mentioned that entities existed right throughout the universe. Now, whether we look at this from a biological, historical, anthropological, mathematical, it really behooves people to get in and have a look at the James Webb Telescope images and just see how vast this universe is. And again, that's only what we can see, right? We're going to develop better technology in the future that'll see further and further. And guess what? There's no end to it. And that's alarming. Why would God, quote unquote, just create one species and then have itself and then humans? It doesn't make sense, right? Now, my argument is there's already billions of species right under our feet, right in front of us. Animals, insects, billions of species, fish, microorganisms, they're all thriving and living on this planet, in one planet, right? We all have these different dimensions, and this is where people think that, we're stuck in a simulation or a matrix, but there is a way out, and you have to break down your ego to remove yourself from each envelope of the matrix, and you find yourself in another level, and another level, and another level, and another level, till eventually everything's broken down to the subtlest of the subtlest. And the NDE proved to me that I still exist after I passed away, but there was aspects in my NDE that said there's a point when there's a dissolution of what I call the subtle bodies. Now, the soul is not a solid thing. I don't listen to other people's metaphysics, okay? I'm not interested in people's stories or whatever based off what they've read. I'm an experiencer. I've experienced this. The soul can be dismantled, and it's like a knot of beliefs and prior karma and prior attributes that are carried forward successively from one incarnation to the next. I'm very much a linear incarnationist. Now, if people say, well, we can see our future lives, well, then how come we're not telegraphing back the stupidity that we're performing in this life? Why aren't we growing and getting future lives coming back say, please don't do that. Please don't play with nuclear weapons. Get rid of those toxic plastics out of your environment. Stop harming each other. Because ultimately, yes, we are all one. From God's perspective, we're all one, but we are not one from the human perspective. So you could say it's replacement. We're again trying to prove ourselves to be God on earth, and we are not. We are part of God as a fractal. And each fractal has their own level of simulation that they have to work through, and they believe it's real. They believe every level that they're on is absolutely real, and they'll argue it till the black. And you can put as much evidence in front of them, au contraire, and then they'll say, oh, no, that's garbage, that's rubbish. So when we're dealing with extraterrestrials, we get a whole bunch of white noise. Oh, they're demons, right? They're either angels or demons, you see. And this is, again, this is very ancient thinking. This is very, what would you call fundamentalist thinking. They got rid of Christian fundamentalism 400 years ago, but it seems to be rising its head again. Well, if they were demons, these demons can seem to fly beyond the speed of light. They have craft. The technology is millions of years ahead of what we have. So then we start to lean towards, well, are they benevolent or malevolent, right? So underground researchers constantly promote their benevolent. Malevolent, that they're here to harm us. Great. Well, if they're here to harm us, we shouldn't exist. They could have destroyed us 1 million years ago. Why haven't they? So my argument is that each and every person that has an experience, they're going to experience different things. So I'll see if I can share my screen here and just show you one experience, which I think I imparted with you the other day.
Yes, and
So
I turned it on for you, but I guess it doesn't matter because people can go through that anyways. We've already proved that tonight.
So I'll share my screen and see what happens here. What have I got? What are the basic files? Okay, let's see what we got. Oops, have I lost you?
No, we're together. We're on your screen.
So, are you on my screen? Okay,
yeah.
good.
JeffMara UFO. There we are.
There we go. So, this experience, as I said, I'd asked about the Great Pyramid, and it said that it was used to communicate with entities throughout the universe. That was just one purpose of it. I'm not talking about the 3 pyramids. I'm talking about the one pyramid. Okay, I was told that it was a particle accelerator. Now these are really big, statements, and people would say, "What a particle?" I didn't even know what a particle accelerator was, but I found out years later they've got them in Switzerland, right? And in the case of the one in Switzerland, they smash particles together and then take photos with a $6 million Kodak camera to see if there's any patterns there or any smaller particles. Well, there's still scientists still seem to be stuck in Newtonian physics, and I coined the term. There's no such thing as matter, but I call it compressed wave packages. Compressed wave packages. And the compression is seen, so like an atom, you have electrons, and the electron is a spinning particle, there's that word again, that seems to spin so fast that it creates a sheath of solidity. And yet when they split electrons apart, they find smaller parts, smaller attributes. So the smaller and smaller and smaller the particle, they seem to contain more energy. So it's oxymoronic, right? So normally we say with something small, it doesn't have much energy, but that's not the case when you get into quantum physics. So we've basically hit the boson-Higgs particle, which is not a particle. It's actually, it's a wave frequency field at the speed of light. I've written about it in my book from the minimal understanding. I'm not a scientist, but I experienced seeing it. And so it was the boundary of one speed of light. Okay. So when I started researching the Great Pyramid 30 years ago, I realized, oh my God, there was so much evidence there that this has been here a lot longer than we're being told. Okay. I was also shown that it was involved with near-death experiences within that time frame. We're talking about the beginning of human existence on this planet, and the connection to who we really are, from that perspective, which is, again, we're going to go through a massive revisionist system here with anthropology and a lot of other areas. So I did a meditation. I was shown by vision a way of communicating with off-world entities. Now, I'm sure people are going to go, oh my God, he's opening up portals and letting demons in, right? No, I already knew that God is love, okay? That's all people really need to know, that God is love and that they may be here to help us. They may seemingly look like they're harming us, but overall people are changing after their negative experiences and they're coming positive. Travis Walton is a good example, right? He's now talking about his experience, but Hollywood demonized it and made it a negative experience. So the first thing that happened in this one particular experience was I was on a remote beach.
I was wondering about that alien ring. I see you keep pointing to that.
So I was there at this beach, which was about 2 or 3 miles from where I was living. And I used to go there often. And I went for a swim in the middle of the week, right? And this was shortly after I did the meditation. And there's this red object in the seaweed. You know how the water washes the seaweed up? And I thought, well, something red really sticks out. And there's no rubbish on this beach at all, nothing. And if there is, people usually pick it up. They're bowerbirds. They pick up the rubbish and take it home because the beach is so pristine. The beach I found this on is called Burgess Beach, and it's in a small town north of Sydney by about 4 hours. Burgess Beach is in a small town of Forster, Forster. So I picked this ring up and I think, Jesus, like, look at that. It's got a little graze head and a little craft on it. Okay, so there's the first. I mean, what's the chance of finding a ring? I didn't even know who manufactured the ring or... So for me, whether it was from a cereal package, I have no idea. I mean, I could probably go look up and look up on Google the ET ring and I might actually find something, right? But I was so shocked at seeing it because instantly I'd had 2 events, right? I'd asked during the meditation, so there's the first event, or the ring was really a tangible, solid link to a weird, synchronistic unfoldment of events. And the number 3 comes up quite often. So I'll get viewers to actually jot this down. And you can take a screenshot if you want. If you people out there want to take a print screen system RQ on your computer, if you've got a keyboard, you can actually take press that button and you can actually screenshot this little picture of the alien because I thought it was quite funny. And it's looks like a little grey, a classic grey,
I wonder if you can find that ring on Amazon.
Well, I don't know. I've still got it, so maybe I should have dragged it out and shown the actual ring because I've still got it somewhere in my junk, But to me, it wasn't really the highlight of this whole contact. Now, I knew they existed, remember, but I needed tangible evidence because I'm still a skeptic. And I like the way that Dr. Moody came on yesterday and explained what a real skeptic is. It's not someone who poo-poos phenomena. It's someone who says, well, I need to experience this myself to give me some validity of whether I'm going nuts or whether it's just my imagination, right, or an hallucination, right? So I'll open up the second phase of this, right, which is the actual UFO sighting. So 3 craft turned up. Honestly, I don't know how many days after the ring that happened. I wish I didn't keep a diary on it or from memory. It wasn't that long after, maybe 3 days. I just don't know. So I'll open up this video here. Can you see that?
Yeah, looks good.
So that's Saturday the 19th, 2014. So what's that? That's only, what, 9 years ago, yeah? So interestingly, 9 years ago is 3 threes in the mathematical time between that sighting and today. So there you go. There's another synchronicity that's just popped into my head as I speak. This is live UFO footage that was taken by Dean, who was my neighbor at the time. He took it on his iPhone. I had a Canon 7D, which is a digital camera. I did take footage, but it didn't turn out on my computer for some reason. For some reason, the luminescence in the camera was far superior in his phone camera. Sorry. So this is basically, you can see my stills at the end of the live footage. So what I'll do is I'll jump to the actual footage to keep people out of suspense. There we go. Whoop. So that's the beginning, and can you see the 3 dots there, Jeff? They form,
Yeah.
it seems to be like a triangle of sorts.
Right.
Right. Now, of course, they're a bit fuzzy. It's like I said, the footage was just great. So I'll just let that run for a bit. I'll put the volume on. Can you hear the volume? No.
I can.
Volume's not working. No. But there was 4 people with us. We all saw it. 4 or 5 people were standing on the road. There was cars driving past. He's zooming in there.
Are you sure there's 3 lights? Because it looked like there was actually 4.
Well, the 4th one, I believe, was a star. So it might have been Venus. I'm not sure. But these 3 were significant. They actually seemed to hang around for some time. And as we progressed through the video, they change shape. So, and triangles come up quite often, and I'll cover that more in detail in a minute. Triangles seem to be quite common in sightings, and note that there's 3 craft, right? So there you have, that's the one at the top at the apex of the triangle. This one's down the bottom left, he's zooming in on now. And they seem to be fluctuating, right? There was no noise involved with this. Sorry, I can't play the volume. I've tried to unclick the volume. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So you can hear voices in the background.
I can't hear anything.
There's some girls laughing. Car going past. Can you hear that?
I cannot.
What I can do is I can give you a link to the video and you can actually post it up if you want, or I'll post it in the comments section after this so people can upload it. It's free for use. And they can analyze it for themselves. I've got nothing to hide. And again, I'm not here to threaten anyone. I'm not trying to change or poke a bear, so to speak, in any way, shape or form. And I don't want to poke authorities because I know authorities really are interested in this as above top secret. It is the, okay. So let's shift along here. The UFOs changed position in what looks like the Orion constellation, in my opinion, okay? They held that position for 10 minutes and then they dispersed into different directions. So we have a triangle formulation. They come down, they're hanging around for like 20 minutes. Easily got a ton of footage. And so this is one image here. Can you see that one?
Now, it almost is, when you show this footage, is this the shape of the craft, or is this how like the craft moving in all those different directions and you so fast that you actually see the trail of it?
Right. Well, this is a good point because all we could all see were balls, right? They were like spheres, like orbs, but they're not fluctuating, high fluctuation. And so I didn't think anything of it until I actually got the photos from the footage and my camera, and I uploaded them. And of course, I zoomed in. There's 7 megabyte images. I thought, Jesus, these things are all over the place. I thought either I'm shaking or they had camera shake. And so I did an analysis on that. Of course, this is just on footage and stills. So what I can do is actually I'll close that window out and I'll go to the actual close-up. So that's zoomed out a bit, but you zoom in. So there's hot spots in it, right? And it's all over the shop. So there's a spot here that I'm showing you with my hand, this hot spot here. This whole area is a hot spot. And again, you got to remember, I'm sitting there with a camera, and you don't know how long they're going to hang there for. You don't know how long they're going to wait in the sky for you. I do know that there's a consciousness element to this. They can telepathically read exactly what your thoughts are going to be. They seem to know the future, past, present, and future. And so this was a gift to let me know that, yes, he's a tangible something that's in the sky, unidentified object. Now, there was no military activity. We're not near a military base. We're up there.
What do those hot spots mean?
Well, it could be, you got to remember, this is a still, this is a photo. This is taken with the aperture reading is like bang, it's like a split second. So this thing's moving around, forming these weird shapes. So of course, one would say, oh, it's camera shake. Well, great. To counter that argument, I put up when they formed the Orion. Actually, I'll just go to the Orion constellation first. I'll zoom in a bit here. This is the three of them when they change shape from the triangle. So you have the one closest, they seem to be, and I didn't know the distance because it's very hard to gauge the distance of lights in the sky. But the bottom one here seemed to be closer. This one seemed to be further away, and again, this one was further away still. So you'll see the commonality, see the tail is quite common, right? So I think, oh yeah, it's camera shake. But I don't know whether you can see the stars nearby, the background stars. They go in the opposite direction of this tail. So the tail goes to the right, whereas any stars in the image, with their movement, goes to the left, which doesn't happen in photography. Either they all go in one direction to prove that it's camera shake, or this tail was put in on purpose. So the fact that, yeah, this looks like kind of like the Orion constellation. I don't know why they formed that particular shape. But so when I put them in Photoshop and I did what you call comparative analysis, and this is what I came up with, okay? So the body shape, the tails look similar, yeah, but look at the body shape. Now, if it was camera shake, all the bodies would be different, or would be the same, sorry, exactly the same. So you can see the bodies here. That one looks like a little sort of an oblong shape. So a hell of a lot of activity going over here. This is the one that's the furthest away. This one here is completely different. It's got, and look at the extension down here compared to that one. And this one again, totally different. So this is all from the same photo, Jeff, the same photo. So I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting, very interesting. So, but the tails, exactly the same, okay. Let's close that one out. Here I just knocked this up this morning, which is something I didn't do on the video. Here you see this one over here on the left. This was 20 minutes apart. Okay, so this one on the right was taken when the three of them were together in the Orion constellation shape. Then two of them disappeared slowly. They didn't take off. It was like this, like you're in this, you're looking at this stuff. It's very hard to keep it all together, you know, to keep some sort of sanity or some sort of logical thinking, right? Because you're thinking, I just want to get these photos. I hope they turn out, you know. So you're doing your best. I took quite a lot of photos to try to get them. I changed the aperture settings and the stops and as fast as I could to get as much information as possible, take 10 shots, and then change the aperture setting or the stop, you know, because I'm not a professional photographer by any means. So the one on the left, and what do we see? We got that tail again, that scorpion tail. Slightly different, yeah. This one's curled right round like a stinger. And here we've got this one here, look at this one, kicking over as well. But look at the body shape. Man, it's going all over the shot.
It's amazing, you know, actually, the detail of that line that it creates.
Yeah,
it's very sharp.
Right, it is very sharp. And so again, you see hot spots. I'm looking at the hot spots as opposed to the movement. So this may indicate when you've got two separate hot spots here, this means it's moved from A to B very swiftly, right? And so the light dissipates through the movement, right? Bang, it's there. And of course, you're going to lose the heat from those two particular spots. Okay, this is just logic. I'm just thinking the logic here. This one, I'll get a better photo of that one because I've got a closer shot of it, which is down here. What's that one? It's 280. I've got 6 megabyte images of these. So this one's 8.6 megabytes, so we should be able to get a real close up on this. All right. Now you notice again, hot spot there, hot spot here, hot spot right down the bottom, and this whole shape here. I've looked at it from every angle to try to make an image out of it. No, nothing came to me. If someone else can see it, go ahead. There's a hot spot there, which means it must have slowed down in a fraction of a second, then up to here, and it created it. It's a little bit like someone playing with a light with an open aperture, like they've got a light and they're mucking around. Over here, you have the stars. Okay, now look at this one. Can you see that? I don't know if viewers can see that. Look at this trail over here, this long trail over here. I have no idea. There's like a little spider web. And this is common with all of the other stars. They've got this spider web going off to the left. It's going off to the left, which indicates possibly hand movement from my camera, right? I wished I had have set it up on a tripod. I didn't. This one, the body shape, very similar. Yeah, they are very similar over here, but over here they're not. So you've got this kind of like a little foot or this little boot shape. But this doesn't look the same as that, right? Doesn't look the same. These are surrounding stars. So this is just the footage. Beautiful, clear night, absolutely clear. The other fellas had moved away. The other lights had moved away by this stage. So here again, I'm sort of arrowed. This is one photo, right? They're all together. Now, anything, and any logician or anybody with any logic would say, well, okay, so this thing's gone from a triangle to this particular shape, and then one's left alone. No idea why they did that. Two left, one stayed, and it was there for a good 20 minutes to half an hour. So it wasn't, that was exciting for me, but it wasn't until maybe a couple of years, maybe a year later, I thought, hang on a minute. I went looking on the newspapers on Google. I went looking to see if there was anything else there, right? And eventually I did find something, and guess what? April the 14th. So what was the date of my sighting? Sorry, this April 21, my mistake. So April 21, which is, I just double check that to make sure, yes, the 19th. Guess what? Wow. There's the three again. 19 to 21's 3 days, right? Yeah. 3 days later, a similar sighting up on the Sunshine Coast, which is up in Queensland, which is 1,000 kilometers away from me. And like I said, I didn't see this. I only found this about a year later. A commercial pilot with more than 30 years, there's the three again, 30 years experience, has been left scratching his head over mysterious lights he saw over Caloundra. Now, Caloundra is on the Sunshine Coast, and he grabbed this photo. Same thing, this strange orange, beautiful glowing orange color. A commercial pilot with more than 30 years. He remained unnamed. I don't know who he is. This is the article from the newspaper. Anyone can go and look this up. It's the Sunshine Coast Daily. That's the newspaper. The journalist is Carly Reese. As you can see there, April 21 to 14. So it's the same year, same month, just 3 days later. Now, watch for the synchronicity of threes in this, okay? A commercial pilot with more than 30 years experience has been left scratching his head over mysterious lights he saw over Caloundra on Good Friday. Now, what's Good Friday? What is Good Friday? The first day of Easter. How many days in Easter? 3. Is that a coincidence? I think not, right? That's just me speaking here, right? So there's another 3. The pilot, who does not want to be identified, said he had never seen anything through the cockpit window that compared to the experience. It has the self-confessed, quote, world's greatest skeptic questioning everything he believes about UFOs. The Pelican Waters man was admiring the sky with friends about 8 p.m. last Friday when they first saw 2 colored lights in the sky. So he saw 2 originally. He's only got a photo of 1 here in the story. They said they reminded him of Chinese lanterns rising high into the sky and heading south and then east. Then a third, there we go, there's the 3 again. Then a third warm orange glow appeared and suddenly changed direction, tracking northeast and quickly disappeared. We were looking for an identifier, as you do when you see aircraft in the sky, a beacon or a flashing light, whatever. He said, I thought it had the characteristic of an object that could fly, and I was curious as to what the lights were. So he says he admits he's still not thinking UFO by this stage. So he goes ahead and he goes onto his computer, he uploads them, and he finds out that there's more clarity in the camera, that's what happened with me. The shots were better than I expected, and this happened with him as well. I think this event was intentionally, I'm of the opinion that it was intentionally and purposely put there to link up with my event. Not saying that sounds very John-centric, but I was going through a hell of a lot of extraterrestrial experiences at that time. And I was also involved in crop circles from 210 to 213, or crop circle analysis. Now, I'm not going to go too much deeper into that because most people end up disappearing after connecting the hard evidence of crop circles, and I don't want any trouble. I'm just saying, I think everybody who's got a reasonable sense of common sense or logic knows that these things do exist. Now we're in that dualistic conundrum of, well, are they malevolent or benevolent? Well, I'm sorry, seeing lights in the sky is not malevolent. It's just an observation, which is neutral.
What's interesting to think about is UFOs don't need lights. So
Correct.
why do they have lights if not only just for us to see them?
Well, the other thing too is if anyone who's looked into Bob Lazar's work, he said that these things can be invisible because of the way they can warp the gravitational field around them. They seem to be able to create their own gravitational field due to the advanced technology that they have. Warping gravitational fields can give them the seeming impression that they're interdimensional. Now, so they have the ability to basically pop in and out of our visual. They seem to have no sounds involved, mostly visual, okay? So basically, this guy realized it kind of looked like a boomerang shape. There's your triangle shape again. So it's very sort of like fuzzy, that one. Doesn't seem to be as defined as the ones I took. But again, I'm glad that I came across this article. So it confirmed in me that it was true. I didn't need confirmation, but this was just like asymmetrical evidence that fancy that, 3 days apart, and we get this. And he doesn't even want to show. He doesn't want to say his name, for fear of whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, he has a career to ruin. I don't have a career, so it's like it just doesn't bother me. I'm already ruined, Like as I said, I need another beer. So that was the second phase of my calling, and I said I don't have control to call in UFOs per se, but what I was doing was I was doing meditations that would be considered what they call tantric, and it was about healing energies on the planet. Ironically, around that time, I was doing global meditations using specific crystalline patterns, which were shown to me to use. And I saw Hawaii was black. I saw Japan was black. And this was years ago, years before, say, Fukushima happened in Japan, and years before the tragic fire that's happened recently in Hawaii. So we seem to be going through, seem to be hitting these, the visions that I'd seen back then. I seem to be hitting multiple of them at once. And that's what's causing my energy to be a little bit disturbed and thrown a little bit awry. Now, a few days later, this is when it starts to get interesting, is I was asleep in my art studio, and I ended up having 3 entities over me. There's the 3 again. So that was the third phase of this particular calling. So I'd say over a period of a week to 2 weeks, this whole thing unfolded.
Were they grays?
And, yeah. I mean, again, it was so fast. And being woken up in the middle of the night, as anybody would attest, it doesn't matter if it was a human intervention from a burglar, or something coming into your space, you're in deep sleep. Of course, the reaction is one of shock initially, and all I saw was these 3 entities over me, and I froze at the half sitting up position. So I wasn't sitting up 90 degrees, I was only about 45 degrees. And all I got was like, it was like it was so fast I couldn't even think, right? And I thought, bang. And so I fell back to sleep. But then I bounced back up again, and it was the morning. The sun was up and everything. So that shows you that the time delay between was nothing. Obviously they have this ability to freeze us in our awake sleep state. So I was fully aware it wasn't a dream. I know the difference between dreams and this activity. And so they let me know they were there, basically. So bang, I get this contact. But for the next, say, 2 months afterwards, I was in an altered state of heightened synchronicity. There was patterns and phenomena that defy logic in what we call that 3D world. Not negative, nothing negative at all. I mean, just 3 entities appearing over me is not negative. But they definitely seem to have this ability to alter your consciousness for a period of time, however long that is. And I've done a lot of research on extraterrestrial activity from other abductees and contactees. And not many people are talking about it now at the moment for some reason. I don't particularly like talking about it because we keep on coming up with inconclusive conclusions, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're here. We know it now. Now we've got the congressional hearings with David Grush, which has produced no evidence whatsoever, hasn't produced any photos. So I've shown you a video and photos right here.
That's true.
They're not. I'm not here to benefit from this. I'm not making any money, right? So it's like I'm just letting you know that that's just one of many experiences that I've had. I do feel strongly that they're here to help us on a bigger picture. I would even loosely put it into an evolutionary picture here. I think we're going through an evolution of consciousness that we've probably never seen since the beginning of time itself. And the subtleties of how this is happening, we're getting enough evidence to see that there is something external of us. We're not alone. But we also need to look at how we're treating each other. And this is when the NDE then comes into its own. Because I know that the creator is love, but again, it's a paranormal subjective experience. You know, you can't convince people who are not doing the right thing. You can proselytize and scream all you like, whatever your religious epithets and deities you want to hurl at them and say, you're going to be punished, and you threaten them with fear. You can threaten them with promises of salvation and fear and God knows what else. But ultimately, we've reached a point where people have solidified their beliefs to a point where we all now have to collectively go through a near-death experience. Okay, so you didn't want to hear of the previous prophets and all of this stuff. Now you're going to have to go through the experience yourselves, guys.
You know,
no one's going to be here to help you. You're going to have to go through it.
I'm glad you kind of brought that up because there's so many people coming on showing the UFOs like you did, and there's so many guests saying something's going to happen between this year and 2026. I know you don't want to talk about your visions, but do you think something big is going to be happening very soon?
We're in it. Okay, most people have this idea that it's always the future. Okay. My personal opinion is some of us are living in the future already, and some of us are not. And it has to do with what I call the XY axis of consciousness, where there's a vertical axis of what people would paraphrase as ascension and lifting. The lifting can affect you physically, yes, with these kinds of phenomena. It helps lift the consciousness and lift it out further and further. Imagine a sphere, and this sphere has like an onion. Okay, an onion's a better metaphor. And some people are closer to the core or the center of that onion. It's consciousness, right? But there's certain criteria involved with that center of, like the 5 sense perceptions. And some people are adamant that their 5 sense perceptions are the reality and the truth. Then as you go further and further out, when those realities get broken, of course, the physical death experience is one good example when you lose all of those faculties, all of them. And so, of course, people are terrified of the unknown. So people like ourselves, and there's millions of us that have had this experience now, and we're telling you, please don't worry. It does exist. There is something beyond that. The soul then travels on. Some people go so far. So this is why we all have different experiences, because that's possibly all the individual can cope with. Now, I had no beliefs beforehand. I was an atheist. I wasn't religious at all. I didn't even know what the word atheist meant. I wasn't into philosophy or anything, but I had a deep yearning to know, to ask questions. And it got to a point where it became obsessive because I wanted to know how reality worked. So, of course, I got the big hit. I'd had an NDE earlier when I was 18. I had an OBE when I was reading a book and it popped out of my body. These were no drugs involved at all, none, right? Average surfer, just an average John, just plugging along with life. And then when I'm 30, I get hit with a full-blown NDE. My partner had been killed in a car accident with my daughter. I mean, I was in trauma 6 years prior. And of course, I started to expand, what's going on here? Why would life be taken? What happens after we die? If there's a God, why would God kill my daughter and my partner? It seems very unfair, right? And this goes on every day, this suffering. And so my suffering was compounded through emotional suffering more than physical. So I didn't actually get blown up in a car or, and get killed that way. Mine was more emotional. So once it destroyed me over and over again through these life experiences, I became numb. I became completely numb. And then I had this amazing experience, and it revivified my lust for life, I suppose. I didn't want to come back. I did not want to come back at all. The love was so intense, beyond comprehension. But it doesn't mean to say that we can get out of this down here. There is a particular shift happening where everyone's having their shift on an individual level. And once it hits a critical mass, only God knows when that critical mass is at a point of what we call a tipping point, right? And so this shift that's going on is happening on a microcosm and a macrocosm simultaneously. And we each, as I said, it is linked. The NDE is linked to extraterrestrial activity because they can't physically intervene because that would negate our choice. So if they just all turned up in craft, people would commit suicide. And people say, well, so what? So what? Okay, so the ETs don't seem to, they give us rectal probes and cut cattle up. They don't seem to have a conscience, right? They don't seem to have this conscience. But the problem is they are interconnected on another level to the all, the source of all. So there seems to be evident that there's cosmic rules to the game that all have to play by. We can bend those rules. We can push the boundaries of them to some degree, but there are some rules that can't be broken, right? Earth humans have choice. Now, if they choose not to, you don't have to believe in ETs. I mean, I'm not saying that. You can believe in Jesus, you can believe in Buddha, you can believe in Shiva, you can believe in, there's millions of gods out there. Just choose one. You can be a Tangrist, a Mongolian Tangrist. You can be an animist in Japan. You can choose any religion you want. There's 53,000 denominations of Christianity. Which one do you want to choose? So people obviously choose the one that's easiest for them to understand, right?
Right. Have you ever seen that thing? Go ahead.
It's reinforcement theology again. And so what's happening is those theologies and realizations and reality tunnels are now breaking down. We're dying. We're dying. Not physically. We're going through the NDE. And pretty soon we're about to hit the void. And the void, there's going to be no light. Complete black. I've been there. It is not the end.
That would be pretty wild. Of the
Mm-hmm.
planet wide, it would be pretty wild that everybody on the planet would be in the black void at the same time.
Well, it could possibly be, but it totally depends on one's individual awareness as to how they react to that void. Because I'm not frightened of it. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fantastic that we're going to go through this darkness, because then, and only then, there's only one entity that's in control, if you want to use that word, and that would be a deity itself. Now, to paraphrase a biblical scripture on this, it says, Jesus himself, the Son of Man, will not know when it comes, nor the angels in heaven, only the Father. Now, this is a theological conundrum because Jesus and the Father are meant to be one, so let's not go there. So why is there this division between Jesus as the Son, because he's in spirit? Isn't Holy Spirit meant to be God? So these are theological, dualisms that I probably don't want to cover in this particular podcast. But having said that, it seems that God's going to be the only one in control. Fantastic. So that means all the naughty people that are doing naughty things, let them. Yeah. They're going to get caught.
As long as they don't come, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was going to say, as long as they don't come to my podcast and do naughty things.
Well, we saw what happened last week, and I thought it was an ET giving a rectal probe, but let's not go there. The visual. Well,
you were here. I don't know if you were here at the beginning. It happened again the beginning of tonight.
Oh, no.
No, you missed it.
Seriously,
yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, you missed it. Yeah.
I'm not going to go back on it. I think the first one traumatized me enough.
Well, you're lucky you didn't see the second one. John, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to run. It's way past my time for for my
cool.
podcast time, and I
Yeah.
still got people waiting on me, and they've been here, and
Yeah.
I want to give them a chance. But thank
I
you
know it's
so
an interesting
much.
subject, and I'm
Thank
sorry
you
it's
for
taken so long.
It's
but
okay.
it is-
Well,
it
we
is
haven't had
interesting.
you here in probably a year. When's the last time
Oh.
you were on?
Right, okay.
So while we get you here, we've got to extract as much information out of you as we can, because we don't know. It may be another year until we get you back again. But
Well, look, I don't mind doing another podcast about this, and I'll talk about the other 2 experiences and 3 experiences I had
Right.
in great detail.
right, maybe we should do a
And,
full one on this.
I don't mind, yeah. It's like, as long as I don't get intelligence agencies knocking on my door, I'll gladly
Yeah.
speak to them. I mean, that's why I said, hey,
Yeah.
Richard Dolan, if you've got your earphones on, I'll talk to you because I know who you are.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that.
All right, John. Well, thank you, brother.
Cheers.
I really appreciate you. We love you, and have a good night.
Thanks, and thanks everyone for listening to my ramblings. Cheers, mate.
All right. Cheers. Oh, he's gone already. All right. So we got to get back to the next person, Leonard Straw Robel, or is it Robel? Oh, I forgot to give John. Uh-oh. I've lost. Hello, I hear you.
Okay.
We don't see you yet. Let me help you.
Okay.
Hello, Richard. Hello, Leonard. How's it going?
Yeah. Hi. Good.
You've been here before, right?
Yeah.
I thought I recognized you, but I don't remember Straw being in your. And was Straw always there?
No, I think the last time maybe it was. That's because I'm Straw Piglet on the chat.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I didn't realize that that's you. That's so cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
I'm in bed.
All right. Well, I forgot. Where are you zooming from? I'm trying to remember. Ohio?
I am in Northern California.
Northern California. All right, I
Yeah.
missed that. All right, well, thanks for coming in. What do you have to share with us tonight?
Well, that story that I think it was Elle.
Elle? Yeah, saw the
Yeah.
ghost.
Yeah.
You've seen a ghost too like that?
Yeah, I had a really similar. Well, I'll tell you, pretty similar. So, I was old girlfriend. We were sitting watching TV in her apartment, and she fell asleep. And so I was just sitting there thinking about stuff. And off to my right, I hear footsteps come out of the kitchen, just on the rug, like there was nobody in the kitchen, but all of a sudden I hear these footsteps that sound like somebody like the size of a girl or a woman, small woman, barefoot,
Okay.
and goes near my head and down the hall, and then it disappears. And as soon as I heard it, I knew it was a ghost because there was nobody there. There was no way that somebody was hiding in the kitchen all that time or something. And I'd had a couple other experiences with ghosts, and I didn't turn around because I just felt like I didn't want to give it the pleasure if it was like trying to provoke me or something.
Yeah.
Plus, maybe a little bit. It's like I didn't want it to do something scary, maybe. So I just decided to ignore it. And then after a while, my girlfriend woke up and she went to bed. She went in the bathroom, went to bed, and I went in the bathroom and brushed my teeth or whatever. And as I was leaving, there was a mirror on the door. And as I was walking out, I realized, wait a minute, did I just see a woman in the mirror? Because I felt like I saw off to my left a woman, like a white image of a woman, and it wasn't scary. It was like out of the corner of my eye, and so I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. So I went to bed, and my girlfriend was already asleep, or she conked out really quickly, and I take a long time to fall asleep. So I was just lying there thinking, and all of a sudden she wakes up with a start, and I asked her, "Are you okay? What happened?" She said, "Oh, I had this dream, and I was walking around out front, and there was this woman in long white clothing, like old-fashioned clothing, walking down the street, and she walked into me, and that's when I woke up, and I asked her, "What? When you say walked into me, do you mean like she bumped into you, or she walked through you?" And she said she walked through me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I told her, I said, "I think you've got a ghost in this house, and tomorrow I'll I'll do my thing, like practicing surrender and walking to a house, and in my experience will clean it, like release the ghost or whatever the energy." And so I did that the next day, and well, prior to that, there was something weird about the hallway where it always felt heavy. There was like this angry feeling, and I had mentioned it to her, and she said, "Yeah, she's felt that, and her kids had felt it too." So I did that, and then the feeling was gone. But that reminded me so much of that story that uh, Ellie told, or Elle told, that I felt like, oh, maybe I'll call in and share it.
Well, I appreciate you calling in and sharing, and that was pretty cool. And it's awesome that you have the ability to clear spaces.
Yeah, I think anybody does. I just surrender, and I just ask that if it's the will of God, that whatever spirit is stuck here can be released. Because that's what I figure is happening.
I wonder if the spirit knows that you helped them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, Leonard, thank you so much for coming and sharing. We really appreciate you. Great catching up with you. I am going to run to the next person, but thanks again and have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. For some reason, this has got, now my sound effects are gone. I'm not sure what's going on. See if I press this. There they are. All right, we're back. I can scroll through these, and I missed that one for John. So that I'll do a second one for John. You're still there. That's for you. And I want to say this too, real quick. As we're bringing in Stephen Cake, there was someone that gave us super thanks, and I wanted to say thank Angelique. Thank you so much for that super thanks. We really appreciate it. And she said, your Isabella Green interview was amazing. Yes, it was amazing. And if you guys haven't seen it, I would recommend you checking it out. I think it was really cool. And that was another Matrix video. We've been talking about the Matrix tonight, so if you want to see another amazing video, check it out. And we've got orbs. Let me get some music for these orbs. 5 orbs. If you've ever wanted to see orbs, now you've got it. 5 orbs. We've got orbs. Steven.
How much chutney do you like, Jeff?
I was giving you some music to go with it. I had some live music. I wish you could hear it too. It would be pretty.
I got mine jacked the other day.
So how have you been, Steven? Nice to see you back this week.
Well, hello.
Well, hello there.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
What is new with you?
Well, I told you I got mine jacked, Jeff. It's very difficult for me now.
Well, you've been
I'm
mind
no
jacked.
longer alone.
You've been mind jacked for quite some time.
Yeah, I say it's reality can't be figured out because I say they can let me talk. The other day they wouldn't let me talk at all. I had to talk. I had to sing to people. That's what they had me do. I said, life it's like an impractical joker's game for me.
Do you
I
think
said, let me try to talk to this person. They said, I don't think so. You're gonna have to sing to them.
do you think it's possible that you can get unjacked?
I can't get on Jack, folks. I am trapped in the matrix. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I can go back. It's kind of like some beliefs you can't go back into them. Because I said I was looking for the truth. I keep saying I was looking for the truth. And they said, this is the best we're going to do for you there, little Stevie.
This is the best you're going to get.
That's all you're going to get there, folks. You cannot become enlightened like me, my friend. You cannot become fully enlightened. You cannot have the truth, folks, but you can have love, darling.
Did you play golf today?
Yes, I did, but it was very busy out there, Jeff. And so I didn't play my total best, but I had a couple birdies and made the ball go far.
That's good. That's good. What about walk and talk videos? Are you still creating those?
Well, I haven't done one in a while, Jeff. It's hard being walk and talk all the time. You know what I mean? I was thinking about doing one here, but Jeff, my life wasn't going very well. So it's kind of like I just want love and care in my life. And that's so I can do things that I want to do. Because I say, like, the mind that they gave me corrects me. So if I say, oh, I'm wasting my life, they say, no, you're not doing what you want to do. Mm-hmm. If now I say,
I hear you're saying you want love and care. So do you think you're looking for a soulmate?
Oh, I need something, darling. I was like, well, during my life,
a partner.
Yeah, as I say, the mind knows it. You even just have an intention, like, and they know it already. Because I say it's like, I thought I was talking to God, but I say it's like a God part of reality. It's like there's not a supreme being. It's more like there's just a God part of reality because they're not in control of anything. But I think things can work together to make it seem like something really special is going on here. The other day, I was looking for an item. This is one thing I do all the time is I say, help me find this item, the thing I'm looking for. And it just appeared. I was like, wow. I was like, I'd say that's my number one prayer is to find things.
You know, I just thought I saw an orb fly around you. It went around you and then came in front of you. A small one, about that size. It's either an orb or a bug. Do you have any bugs in your room?
Oh, I'm sure there's something flying around here, darling. But see, I say they could just manipulate. Maybe there's forces at work that are. I say no one's in charge of it, though. No one's in control of it. It's not like there's some entity. And like I said, I thought I had spirits with me. Like they're holding my hand. I said, who's holding my hand? Who's moving my bed? And the correction they give me is it just happens.
There's a good comment in here. There's a good comment here in the chat that says we all want to love and be loved for who we are.
Yes. And I said I had this discussion with my mind about how life is kind of like a wheel of fortune. It's like all these different things. And I said, I got the one where I look normal, but I'm not normal. Where my problems are, like I kept saying, like, it's a paradox, but they said, no, it's not a paradox because that's something that can't be solved. But it was just not normal. But people could say, oh, you're normal. You're fine. You're normal. You're not a mad scientist bringing up dinosaurs from the past and must go faster. There's UFOs chasing us now here. All right.
Well, I'm not sure what to say for that. I mean, you're right about that, I think. And I was kind of caught in the chat that the chat is thinking that well, I don't know, I'm kind of putting my own spin on it, but they're saying that you're still in love with a woman.
Yes, I'm very deeply in love with a woman who doesn't love me back. Darling, let's see if let me even say this, because I had a discussion just earlier about this. It's like, it's almost like I felt like I was a female spirit, because it's like there's certain ways. It's like I just wanted to be with this woman, but this woman, she's not like a regular woman. She is.
What do you mean?
I don't know if I can say this on the.
Well, then, yeah, don't do any
dates
curse
other
words.
women.
Oh, okay.
Lots of them.
Right.
And I don't even want to get into this.
Okay.
Let's see what the great mind. What do you have to say, Hal?
What did the mind do?
Whatever you want, but I was like, they haven't shut me down this podcast, Jeff. They haven't shut my butt down, my jacker number one. What do you want? Oh, just nothing, my jacker. So I just was out here having fun and telling everyone to have a great day.
Well,
I went through the enlightenment, but it's like this whole big experience where, and then you get to keep the gifts. I say you get to keep the lessons, keep the gifts. I used to be psychic, a pet psychic, and could read people's gifts. I said, yeah, it was.
You never told us that you were a pet psychic.
Yeah, not for very long, but see, Mary was my instructor in most of this, but it's more like it was a voice. They had a greater mind on me, and then they went back. They said, okay, we're just going with the voice now. Because before it's like I could see him. It was like Jesus was on my left. The Father was straight ahead. And then Mary was on my right. Mm-hmm. It's like I had this interface on reality. And I could see blessings and curses. And I could hear. See, people say, oh, the pets was talking to me. I said, no, that's the greater mind. But they make it seem like it's coming from the animal. They make it seem like it's coming from this one guy was hurting. I could hear him saying, oh, I'm in pain. But it wasn't him. It was that greater mind.
Right.
Telling me that. Yeah.
Right.
And I channeled the dead. I channeled spirits. And I said I could talk to people living and dead in this mind interface.
But it wasn't really. It wasn't really channeling anybody or the pets. It was just the greater mind talking to you.
Yeah, that's what I say. And they just show up as whoever, whatever is going to, fit us, because they're smarter than us. They know what's in our heart. They know our intentions. Mm-hmm. I say when you're having a conversation with God, you don't even, as soon as you have an intention, they know the whole sentence, the whole thought, the whole sentence. Because I'll just say that guy, like it just, as it comes up, they already know the whole thing. I said, that's kind of like the mind. And sometimes people saying they hear a voice telling them stop or something like that. That isn't their voice. Right. And I said, that's what I'm getting all the time. All the time. I go, I'm not in control of this, but they're not all knowing. I say, when it was God talking to me or Mary, they could give me some insight. Could.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you feel like you've surrendered to this?
I don't know what's going on, Jeff. I feel like I should be declared a national treasure, because I said I don't want to be harmed or abused. I don't want all this bad stuff. That's why I begged God, because people weren't helping me. So I begged God, and I said they did the best they could. They gave me instructions. They took my voice over. So for 6 months, I had no control over my voice or my body or anything. And there was different ways they could do it.
Right.
And people can get gifts and abilities that you don't know. I said, you just, it's kind of like things just happen. I can't say, I know I begged God. That's how it happened for me, but.
Well, someone in the chat wanted you to do Beatles impressions.
Man, all right. So, we met John, the other day, man, John Lennon talks more like this, man, it's like, all right, man, we're going to do some things over here, man, So that's what they did. They made it easier for me to do impressions, Jeff. So it used to take effort and energy to do this, but now, man, back, a long time ago, man, we're doing some, hippie, trippy things, man, And when I go to type a sentence, type something, I don't know what's coming out. I just let it pop out of there and just like, whoa, okay.
A few weeks ago, I thought that you said that you had started channeling.
It's like I'm constant, like it's like I'm constantly channeling now, I'd say. Yeah, I don't know.
That would be pretty wild. That'd be pretty cool if you could actually just start channeling some being, even if it's just the greater mind.
Yeah.
Right? I think that would be really
yeah,
cool.
It's not an entity, that's what I say, but you could channel an entity.
You're calling
it's not.
You're calling it the greater mind, but could it be your higher self?
Jeff, that's what I believe, that when someone channels, they're not channeling that entity. It's like the artificial intelligence, of that, if I could replicate JeffMara or Jeff and just put him into a robot and then say, here, he'll interview you.
Yeah.
So I could sit there and talk. I'm not talking to you, but I could talk to your, the replica of you.
Right.
Yeah.
The replica.
Yeah, pretty much. The mind is smarter than everyone else, so it knows exactly how to do that.
Well,
living, dead, past, present, everyone, whoever.
Well, we're eternal beings, so.
Yeah, and there's something beyond our understanding. That's what I would say. On reality.
Right. Well, Stephen, I've got to do what I got to do.
Right on. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
We love you, Stephen. We love you.
Keep the prayers for me.
Have a great week. We would see you later, brother. Oh, he's gone. All right, it's almost 10 o'clock. I'm an hour over, and I've got 3 people, so I'm going to have to try to go through these quickly. I'm so sorry, because it just is what it is. It's like Steven says, I got to do what I got to do, and so I'm going to have to try to move through these quickly so I can... And now I have to edit this video tonight, which I didn't plan on doing, and that's kind of makes me kind of wondering if I'm going to keep doing this live stream, because it is what it is. Bruce, can you hear me? By yourself?
Jeff, that's what I believe, that
you got the YouTube video going.
They're not channeling that entity. It's like...
Hello?
Hey, hi.
Hi, Bruce. Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. Where are you Zooming from?
I am in the DC area.
DC area. All right, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have to share with us this evening?
I wanted to come on and just give a reading to some of the psychic mediumship reading.
Oh, cool. So you're a psychic medium and you're going to, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so you want to give us all, you want to give like us all a reading or what?
I'll give the whole crowd a reading.
Yeah.
Somebody from I guess from who's watching who wants to have a reading.
Oh, okay, great. You want to, is this person on camera too?
I'm sorry?
Is this person also waiting to get on camera? Should I get you both in at the same time and you're going to give this person a reading?
I feel that Julie would.
Oh, Julie Lazaroff. You're going to give Julie a right?
would
okay,
somebody.
hopefully she's there. Oh, she was supposed to select somebody? We have a chat delay here, so just give us a minute and we'll figure out who you're supposed to be giving a reading for. But that's great. How long have you been doing psychic readings?
I began my spiritual journey in 2002.
Long time.
With a spiritualist service called the Sacred Light Fellowship, and I did psychic development, and I give gallery style readings on there. And then I studied with James on Prague School of Mystical Arts, and with Lisa Williams, International School of Spiritual Development. And
you've done a lot.
Yeah, I've been doing this professionally now for a couple of years. So.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have some type of spiritual or spiritually transformative event in your life that gave you this ability?
I guess being born. I mean,
you've been this way since birth, then.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I used to get in trouble for daydreaming in school. Now I get paid for it. So, but I was remote viewing at a very young age. Very clairvoyant, so you know, very specific things would come to me. I'd give messages to friends and family, psychic messages and messages from loved ones on the other side. And I didn't have a near-death experience. I maybe got kind of struck by lightning in camp, but I don't know if that would have anything to do with it.
Maybe. You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Well, Julie said that says Susie would like a reading. I'm kind of maybe you guys have all been discussing this in the chat, which is perfectly fine by me. Susie Mack. So do you need to have her on camera, or you can just visualize her, or how do you do this? That's the person's name is Susie Mack.
Right. I believe you would bring her up on the Zoom.
All right, let me see. Susie, are you going to join us on Zoom? You okay? Yeah, so he can see you?
Yeah, I need to see her.
We'll see if she's going to show up. This will be pretty interesting. And again, unfortunately, we probably got a 30-second time delay between what we do and then by the time it hits YouTube. So, we'll see. I'll see if I'll open this window so we can see if she shows up here. And we're all waiting for her.
I've always been able to communicate with energies that are on the other side or in other dimensions as well, through orbs and also through through my spirit photography that I do now.
Really? Wow.
With my ET friends who come through, and then also I get people who have crossed over as well in these orbs as well. So I get both. Yeah.
All right. It says Arliss Mack, and her name is Susie Mack, and maybe this will be her. So that's pretty cool. You've got you see ETs as well.
Energies that are
Susie, if that's you, mute the YouTube video.
Also through through my spirit photography that I do.
Let's see. I've asked her to turn on the camera, so she's there in the room. And I think Bruce needs to see you.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Oh, here she comes.
Can you see me?
Now we can. Hi, Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Hey. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, how are you?
All right, I'm going to let Bruce work his magic. Go ahead, Bruce.
Hi. So yeah. So Susie, definitely I can do what I do is I do psychic readings. This is like what's going on in the here and now. I also do mediumship as well, where I connect you and get messages from your loved ones from the other side. Are you open to both? I can do like a hybrid, or I could maybe do more mediumship or do more psychic. Or I like to do both, but so I'm just gonna sometimes I get like be open to just living and deceased, because it's all connected. Sometimes I get a spot on name. Let's say I get like Kevin, but sometimes it's Evan if I do get a name. So like I may ask you to help me out with a name if I'm not spot on with it. I'm just gonna set a quick intention and we'll see what comes through. Spirit guide angels, loved ones of the highest truth and compassion of Susie. Please let me be a clear channel, and please bring messages and see what's going on. And if you could also say your name 3 times, please.
Susie Mack, Susie Mack, Susie Mack.
It takes me a couple seconds to raise myself up and for them to raise themselves down and for kind of make a connection. So just okay, I'm picking up on a female figure above you. I feel like you. I feel like your mother. Your mother's in spirit. Yes, and I'm getting like an E initial. Like the letter E. Is that initial in her first name, middle name, last name?
Oh, first name.
Yeah, like an E-L, like a Eleanor or Elena or Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
We have her
it
right now.
happened.
We have her down here with you. Okay, right now. Okay. I thank you. I thank your guides for that information. So she's right down here right now, and she's wow. Okay. Okay. Now she's showing me like the C sign. So I'm getting like, did she Cancer? Was Cancer is what? But I was also getting some with her heart too. So I was getting something kind of like her circulatory system. So I'm getting okay. So it's more like a stroke. Yeah, she had a stroke. Okay, that's what she. Okay, I think
All that stuff.
so we really have her down here. Okay, great.
Circulatory. Yeah.
And she's 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 so thankful for you, and she's saying that you stepped in during a time when she wasn't well, and there was a disconnect between you two before that, if you understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's apologizing for that disconnect. And this was a disconnect for a while. And
Yeah.
and she's so sorry for that. And she wants to make it up to you. She says there aren't words to apologize for this. And if you understand it as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And she struggled with her parents, and I feel your grandparents or her mother as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I feel there was an unavailable parents there.
Yeah.
At times. Yeah. And she went through I'm not into details, but she went through her own struggles and getting like abuse, and some neglect, and I'm picking up on maybe alcoholism in a certain area. I'm not going to get into the details of this because I don't want to go there because
Right.
but it wasn't, and she was unavailable for you emotionally, and was controlling, and she didn't let you be who you wanted to be, your
Yeah.
authentic self. She was like, you get married, you marry a guy, you do this, you do that, you don't, you don't run off with the Grateful Dead and you do things like that, which is, if you understand that as well. And
Yeah.
she was very controlling of things with you, and she created a lot of disconnect and arguments, and she had a hard time connecting and giving you love. I mean, like real authentic love. And she's so sorry for that, but she made amends towards the end. She okay. I feel like the father, or your father's also your father's in spirit too. And is he
Right.
like a J initial, a J?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a Joe,
Yeah.
Joe,
No.
no, John,
No.
no, Joe, John, help me out. But it's a J.
James.
J. Oh,
James.
Gene. Okay, close enough. So like if I get a name and I'm not spot on, just help me out. Say help me out. Okay, so he's down here too. So they're both down here now. I feel he separated.
Yeah.
He separated. He took off when I feel like when you were young.
Yeah.
Like and he just took off, and it was just you and your mom, and he's really sorry about that. And he's like he's coming to me like a dog, like with his tail between his legs, and um um um, and, um, 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 and he tried, I know you just kind of like, you tried to reach out to him, but he didn't respond. And that was this, he's so sorry about that. Again, there aren't words to apologize for this, and they want to make this right from over there. And they're saying that were your lights flickering today?
Maybe not today.
But like, or
right now they are.
recently? Yeah. Okay. I'm feeling that's them. I feel like it was like a couple days ago. It was recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was her birthday.
It was her birthday.
Ago,
Okay.
Too.
Okay, so yeah, so that was definitely her coming through and through electricity, because they're on like a vibration that's like electricity, so it's very fast. So they can communicate like through lights, through your computer, through your phone. They'll flicker your lights. Also, you picked up your phone. You saw 1111.
Not recently, not on my phone. No.
But like, or you see it like you saw repetitive numbers 1111 and 111 and 5.
Yeah. I think on her. Yeah.
Okay, so that's definitely like them and your guides connecting with you, and they're helping you through what's going on right now. There's it's been challenging. I'm feeling it's been challenging in your kind of personal life right now, with a partner, and know that like it's not you, it's them, and that that you're way more an older soul than this person. This person's a younger soul. They have more lessons to learn, and they're not energetically aligned with you right now.
Yeah.
And there's something better for you on the way. So and there's something better, way better coming in for you, like sooner than later, like right after this Mercury retrograde when we get out of it.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and I feel like this is somebody who like it's like a friend of a friend. This person, I feel like someone's matchmaking for you.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So don't let what's going on right now like bring you down. It's been hard. It's been very emotional for you, these past weeks, and you have a lot of like guides coming in to help you through this right now. This is big. This is big. This is huge. This is like,
transition, you mean? A transition, you mean?
Yeah, the transition that you're in. Yes. Yeah. But it's gonna work out to your highest good, and just know that. You have definitely lots of support around you. There's good people around you. You have such, good energy, good loving energy. Now, I picked up like a P name, like a female P name, like a Priscilla or may not. If you don't know who that is right now, it's like we're doing a psychic puzzle. So it's like we'll put this puzzle piece on the side. You might know about it after the reading, or it might even be coming in the future. There might be this person. So that a lot of times that's what happens when I get a name like that. And if you just don't know, can't connect it, or like a female P name, it could be Pauline or okay, that's another puzzle. We'll just put those puzzle pieces on the side there. So just let me get okay. So I have your mother and your father here. I have Joe and Eleanor, right? Yeah, and
Ellen.
I mean Ellen, and what is? Okay, I'm trying to get. Okay, are you purchasing? Like, are you purchasing something like a big purchase? Uh, is this like I'm getting like a car or something or not a
Not
home,
that I know.
not,
Mm-mm.
not that you know. Okay, okay, we'll keep going. Okay, now you have there's a sister. There's a sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a sister. Okay,
Yeah.
and she's living.
Yeah.
And is she S initial? S.
No.
No S. Okay, keep going. But has there been a disconnect? There's been a disconnect. You haven't communicated in a while. You haven't communicated in a very long time, and
Correct.
it's a lot of disconnect with everyone. And they're saying she's a real pain in the ass. So, I mean, they're kind of like, and I feel like she's younger. She's younger.
Older.
Oh, she's older. Okay,
Old.
she's older. Okay, she's the oldest. Okay. Um, they're wow. We're talking like 10 years. There's like 10 years. Not yeah.
20.
10 years. Yeah. So over 10 years. Wow.
All right, guys, I'm so sorry. I didn't know this was going to go on so long. I was trying. Maybe you guys can finish this up in Discord because I'm like way over time on my podcast.
Okay.
Do you guys?
Yeah.
Are you both in my?
Thanks, Bruce.
Are you in the Discord, Bruce?
The Discord for.
I have a Discord where you can video chat and audio chat, and you can do all that privately. Or I guess you guys can even hook up on Yahoo Messenger.
Yeah, sure. Also, Julie's going to put my my website up in the chat. It's bruceamedium.com. If you would like to have a psychic mediumship reading with me, psychic or mediumship or both, or tarot, and yeah.
All right, great. Well, I appreciate that. All right, if you guys want to hook up with Bruce, hook up with Julie Lazaroff. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you, Susan.
Bye-bye. All right. Don't report. And don't report. All right, guys. It was a crazy night. And I'm so sorry, Leslie Kings, but I need to run. It's been a very long day for me. I'm way over an hour that I usually stream for. But I'm going to say this, that if you guys don't have to in the paranormal party, you can go to Leslie King's YouTube channel, and I feel pretty confident that Leslie will probably be performing there. So if you want to hang out, go to Leslie King's on his YouTube channel, and you guys can hang out there. Well, thank you all so much for coming and hanging with us tonight. We really appreciate you. We love you.